Hi, my name is Maddie Miranda, and I did my presentation on, I ended up titling my paper as Eating Disorders Amongst Asian American Women. I thought this was a very interesting topic just because when I was kind of struggling to find like what to research because I knew a bunch of people were doing like similar ideas and like to each other, and I know like the prompt said like try to keep it kind of individual, try to find something different than others, and I posted it like later, so I wanted to try to find something different that spoke to me. And eating disorders like spoke to me just like um I've been involved with them, and I have family members who have, and I have friends who have, so I just wanted to hear like a different perspective and see how they affected like Asian American women, versus like me being like a white woman. I wanted to like hear what the differences were and just to understand people better and understand, you know, where everyone's coming from. So I would guess like the background of the topic is mostly just kind of what I found in my research was the eating disorder stems from low self-esteem, which is quite simple to say, but it's a lot more complicated than that. So it kind of ties into everything we've discussed in the class so far about how Asian American women have been fetishized and over-sexualized just because of like their like Asian American women's beginnings in the U.S. So the assumption is that everyone is like comfortable being over-sexualized, and which is simply not the case. And yeah, so it would root from that. And so then men and people in society feel comfortable commenting and over-sexualizing Asian American women. They're comfortable talking about how they should be petite, how they should be small, how they should be thin, how they should, how they should be short. Like there's things like that. And if an Asian American woman doesn't fit into that mold, how is that going to make them feel? They're going to feel like they have to fit into that mold. They're not. And unfortunately, I wrote this in my paper as well, that women in general, often not on purpose, but we're valued in society with beauty and attractiveness, and which it should not be. I don't view it as myself that, but I find in cases where, and other women also find this as well, where like if you are more pretty or more desirable in that moment, sometimes you can get more benefits. Or I have a non-binary sibling, and when they transitioned, they were now seen as like not as like feminine, so they got like less opportunities. So that's kind of where like I tie in to like being like beautiful or being like a certain standard makes you valuable in the society, unfortunately. And this doesn't go unseen by any ethnicity, especially like Asian American women. This is seen just because like there's this like stereotype of Asian American women, and this ultimately leads to low self-esteem. And low self-esteem, in doing the research I found, was one of like the main reasons as to why Asian American women, or just people in general, have like eating disorders. It comes from low self-esteem. It is a case-to-case situation, but the low self-esteem ends up like developing certain issues, depending on if it's like you're too thin, you're too heavy, just just situations like that. And let's see. I think, oh, something that I didn't think about in this topic as well is that like eating disorders can be triggered for Asian American women by racial discrimination, and that was something I found while reading. I didn't think that it wasn't possible, but that's not something that I took into consideration before, because I was thinking about, well, mostly just about like physical appearance and like wanting to look a certain way because society pushes that on you. But also, eating disorders can be triggered by high stressors in life. And if an Asian American woman is being targeted racially, being discriminated against, that can cause the disorders to be triggered within them. And that was not something that I had ever thought about. But I thought it was like really eye-opening just to see like the different layers of how these disorders can affect these women. I also thought it was very interesting And what I wanted to find at the end was just, my paper was just finding out like how to help the situation, just because unfortunately what I found in my research is that it's a very understudied topic, just because white women are assumed to be the main people who are affected by eating disorders, and which is not the case. It's just seems that way because it's portrayed in the media that way, that like white middle class women are affected most, but that's not true. And these women are affected by it just as much. I think they're actually affected more than other ethnicities, like women in those ethnicities, just because of the pressures that are onto them. And it's just something that like I didn't understand until I did all of this research. And I think by doing this research, it really helped me understand like how we can help people in the future. So like one of the things that I found was really normalizing help and therapy, since it is so understudied. The big reason why it is understudied is because women are not open about talking about the struggles that they're facing, and because sometimes in cultures it's not seen as appropriate to talk about your mental health issues. But it really is. It's really important to talk about these things and to get help when necessary. I think something like to leave off with is that I did research, and there was a study done, and in the study, it was like a global study. It was done in Europe, but it was a global study. And there was 9 truths about eating disorders, and I thought it was really nice because like up until this point, eating disorders for every single person has been kind of just pushed aside, especially for like Asian American women. There's very little studies done on that, but I think it's important to talk about that they are there, and there are women who are affected by that. And something I said in the end, one of the truths was, this is the last truth, the 9th truth, is that full recovery from an eating disorder is possible. Early detection and intervention are important. And I think it's really important to let Asian American women know that they are not alone. There is help in therapy, and they've never been alone, even regardless of the data that isn't there. Yeah. And I really had a good time learning about all this stuff. It was very eye-opening and very informative.